Hey guys, it's Vincent with vascotoys. On today's episode of Action Vasco, we're going to be taking a look at a big diorama build, an interior warehouse diorama. And I'm really excited about this episode because this is the first time that we're filming one of these episodes in my new workshop. And I'm actually going to be doing a tour of the workshop on my channel in the somewhat near future, so I'm excited to show you guys that. But with that all said, let's go ahead and take a look at this warehouse. Okay, so here's the back wall of the diorama, which to me is the feature piece of this. Each wall in this dio kind of has its own character to it. So this one in particular, there's a couple of things. You have the double doors, which are painted blue and have 3D printed, custom designed door handles on them. And right above that there's an exit sign. And then we have a light fixture, a functional light fixture, where you pull the tab of the balloon light, which is fixed into this foam light fixture. And then you just push that back down and it turns off. So that is, that's this area here. And then there's a couple other pieces I want to touch on real quick. There is an electrical box here, which is, movable, so you could put it wherever you want in the dio. I like it here, so I'm going to keep it here. And it has some signage that talks about, the dangers of handling electricity or equipment that houses electricity, and so that's scaled down for size. And then I painted that piece silver and added in some rust and a little bit of dirt to it. Then on this side I have another sort of like electrical control panel kind of situation. This is made of foam, and then this metal wire is actually from the Dollar Tree lights that a lot of us get. I think they're reading lights, and I just cut the wire to size and pasted that there permanently. So a couple other things on this one, then we'll move on to the other walls. I didn't want the back wall to only have this color to it. I wanted there to be some other interest, so I added in these, like, I don't know what you would call like a facade or facing kind of design element. And so I just painted them heather gray, Anita's heather gray, and did some dirt on top of them with some brown. For the actual back wall color, I did a nutmeg brown. Instead of black washing it, I did a nutmeg brown wash, and then I used like a several layers of dry brushing with more of like a cream caramel kind of color, and that I can't remember the name of, and then I added in some extra dirt and stuff you could see around, just like I did on the door. So the last thing to talk about here with this is the windows, which are backlit capable. So if you shine a flashlight behind them, it's going to look like you have light coming from the outside. You can do that on any of these three. And those are permanent, they don't open or anything like that. So that's a feature that you guys have seen quite a bit in some of my stuff. And then just the last thing to mention before we move on to the other two walls is that this diorama is magnetized. Because it's so big, it has 12 magnets total, I think, in it. So, you know, it's very sturdy, but it needed to have quite a few to get this thing to stay together. But with that said, we're going to take a look at these other two side walls. So here's the second wall of the diorama, and this one has the garage door, which is removable, so you can have some shots where you have vehicles, delivery trucks coming in, whatever you might need to do. And it is dry brushed with silver. This I did black wash, just the door part, and then I dry brushed silver on it. And I put some dents into the door, just so it looks a little bit more beat up, because, you know, this is kind of like a beat up interior of a warehouse. So we've got the door, then we have the two balloon lights. They're both functional, so again, you just pull the tab out to turn the light on, and then you push it back in to turn it off. You guys have seen these in several of my videos at this point. And the other little piece here is a do not block vehicle access needed at all times sign, which is printed on cardstock and then taped to some aluminum tape, which is an Alfigures tip, and it has 4 little sewing needles. It's not glued onto the wall. It has 4 little sewing needles so that, you know, you can remove this and put it wherever you want. I like it here, so that's where I've got it. And because of the aluminum tape, you can bend the sign around the corners if you want to, make it look like it's been warped or whatever, you know, dented or beat up or whatever you might need. So that is the main couple things for this. Of course, all of the walls on this diorama have the windows, so if you look, you can still backlight these and make it look like you've got some light coming from outside, and so you can get some cool photography lighting that way. So our second sidewall, which is the last individual piece of the diorama we're going to look at, is this one, which has an air conditioning vent running, ventilation running in the middle of the wall. So I have, this is, the entire vent is actually XPS pink foam, except for the 3 little vent plates on the front. Those are 3D printed, just a little custom 3D print design there, and there's 3 of them that are just glued on there. But for the rest of this, I just used my Proxxon, created a triangular piece here, lined it up with the 2 little facade pieces so it looked even, and then this is 2 1-inch pieces of XPS foam glued together all the way up, and then what I have is just these little, I don't know what you would call them, like little ridge pieces that I measured out so that they're equal each way apart and they go all the way up. And so once I created that out of the foam, I black washed the entire thing, and then I dry brushed the silver onto the vent just the same way that I did with the garage door and the electrical boxes. So once that was done, then you can see I kind of went in with some rust and some brown, and I added in a bunch of that detail to make it look like it's old and it's grimy and stuff like that. And then one thing that I think came out really cool is the dirt and grime underneath the vent. You know, if this was sucking air out or pumping it in, I just imagined that some dirt and stuff would accumulate here. So that's what I have right under there, which I'm really happy with. And I also have some dirt surrounding the vent on the wall, just to make it look a little more realistic. So the last thing is just those same balloon lights that are functional. So you pull the tab out and you push it back in. I have 2 of those. So if you wanted to and you had the whole diorama set up, you could turn on all the lights, and then you could kind of light the backlit windows from behind, and you could do some really cool lighting for your toy photography, and you know, enjoy that feature. So that is the third piece. With that said, we're going to go ahead and look at some ACBA setups and some props. So I'm really excited to show you guys this ACBA shot where I've got the Retro Series Marvel Legends Spider-Man looking down on this pile of crates, and under the pile of crates is actually the Green Goblin, who's not in focus, but you can see his hand is outstretched and he has a pumpkin bomb that is rolled away from him, sort of for dramatic effect, to kind of just show that he has been defeated by Spider-Man. So in this shot, I have Spider-Man crouched in the traditional Spider-Man crouching pose, and he's using the Marvel Legends 2-pack Ultimate Spider-Man wall crawling hands, just to make it look, you know, more believable, because, you know, you could use the fist there, but I like the open hand look better for this. And he is sitting on top of some of our crates that we've created, and also we're using those crates here on top of the Goblin. So he obviously just toppled these crates on top of the Goblin, and one of the things that's really cool is, you know, this is kind of a post-battle scene, and when you have these props, I think it's really makes doing a battle scene a lot more fun, because you can pose the figures, you know, using them as props, and make, you know, this kind of looks like a jumbled mess, or like that someone's banged into these and knocked them over, and I just feel like it adds so much more to what I'm trying to do with this kind of scene, where I want people to see that, you know, like the Goblin and Spider-Man have been in a confrontation, Goblin lost, Spider-Man is looking down to check to make sure that he's out for the count. So this is a shot I wanted to do with my Walgreens exclusive Punisher. I don't have the new Rider series Punisher yet, really hoping to get him soon, but this guy has always been one of my favorites, and I have him posed in here in the warehouse, about to finish off Scourge using one of my ACBA G.I. Joe series cutouts, which I really like, saying I'm doing what needs to be done, because we all know that the Punisher takes no prisoners, so that's what he's doing here. And I'm hand holding a couple of LED lights, got the camera up on a tripod, and so that's how we're accomplishing this shot. Of course, using a variety of props to fill the space in the shot, and really happy with the way this came out. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Action Vasco, where we took a look at my interior warehouse diorama. Very much appreciate everyone watching. If you guys could leave us a comment, let us know what you thought of this build. Let us know what kind of figures you would want to put in this build, or what kind of dioramas you want to see from us in the future, so we know what kind of content you're looking for. And also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do that. Hit the bell notification. And then if you could also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, we'll see you there and in the next episode.